Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water, this is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So click the like, subscribe, click the subscribe button, subscribe to the broadcast. We are here every day broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and we are on RadioFreeNetwork.com. If you go to RadioFreeNetwork.com, click on radio, the drop box will appear. Click on the New Life link, and every broadcast will be available to you. And to stay connected with us throughout the day, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, click on the WKAP link at RadioFreeNetwork.com, or you can go directly to our website at WKAPFaith.com. We are live 24 hours a day playing music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. So stay connected and stay tuned in at WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio at WKAPFaith.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have a blended family and both you and your husband find it difficult to deal with each other's children. And you want to know, how do you both handle the challenges of trying to be involved parents when you're getting resistance from both sets of children? So first of all, let me say this. Blending families is a different dynamic, particularly when you blend, well, let me just say this. When you blend families when children are young, or when you blend families when they're adults. There's a different dynamic when you're blending families when the children are adults, because everyone's an adult and everyone gets to decide how they're going to interact with one another. What children often find difficult is to navigate loving more than two parents. You know, they find that difficult. And the reason is because they don't have the emotional skills to understand that they can love more than one mother and one father. They find that difficult to navigate because they don't have the emotional tools to navigate that. You know, what people have to learn is that when someone's willing to love you and love you the right way, it doesn't matter whether or not you have the same biological DNA. The only thing that matters is that you have the same spiritual DNA. What that means is the love of God is dwelling in you. And everyone doesn't have that privilege of having multiple people love them. Sometimes it's hard for children to have two parents who are good at loving them the right way. But when you have parents, and you need to have this conversation with both the teenagers and the young adults. When you have more than one person who is capable of loving you the right way, that's a blessing. Because think about this. You may not have the same biological blood, but if you are all saved, you have the blood of Jesus coursing through all of our veins. And what I mean by that is because Christ shed his blood, we now have his spiritual DNA. And what that means is that we're capable of loving at another level. We're capable of loving the way Christ loved us. So, part of the problem is that as teenagers, they've gotten away from going to church. As young adults, they've gotten away from going to church. So there's a whole dynamic of the world in which we live that is not allowing them to develop the skills to love or be loved by more than, in this case, two parents. They want the love of their biological father and their biological mother. His children want that. Your children want the love of their biological mother and the love of their biological father, but they're missing out on the bonus parents. So I will tell you, my wife and I we have godchildren, but we also have a bonus daughter who is a young adult. Has not reached the age of 30 yet, who we absolutely adore and we absolutely love. And she loves us. We're not her biological parents, but we have the spiritual DNA together that allows us to all love one another unconditionally. To love one another like Christ has loved us. And we're thankful for that. We're thankful for the privilege of loving her, and we're thankful for the love that she shares towards us. And so this is the struggle that your children are having, is they're dealing with the world, the way of the world, and so consequently they're not developing the tools to be able to love more than just two parents. You say, how do you handle the challenges of trying to be involved parents, both of you, being involved in and this is why I don't like using the term step-parent, stepfather, stepmother. I don't like using the term because it implies that you have to take a step back, and you don't have to do that. If you're all willing to wrap your lives up in love, I know that this parent is going to love me like Christ loved them. See, and everything goes back to the foundation of building relationships in Christ. Everything goes back to your spiritual relationship with the Lord. That's the only way we're going to really experience a better quality of life. That's the only way we're going to experience the fullness of God in our lives, and that's the only way we're going to maximize the fullness of God in our lives. So we've got to get to a place where we are understanding the importance of loving one another. In spite of loving one another without conditions. You might have to love adult children sometimes from afar because they've got their own set of rules that they want to live by, and that can be particularly when you get into a blended family, when the children are older, when they're not teenagers anymore but they're young adults. You sometimes find that because they've moved out of the household, they're going to do it their way. They're going to have relationships the way they want to have them. And that, what they don't realize, is not always going to work out for the best for them. Because in the end, we all need someone. And first you need the Lord, but then living this life, we all need someone. So handling the challenges of trying to be involved, sometimes you have to be available but less involved. And let me go a little deeper with this, because this will help everyone who has blended families. Sometimes you have to be willing not to take a step back. It has nothing to do with being a step parent. You're not taking a step back. What you have to do is be available but less involved, particularly when you're talking about young adults. You've got to be available in the instance that they need you, or I'm not talking about want you to do something for them. I'm talking about needing you to do something for them, and not because they've been destructive or not because they've been actually doing things that are detrimental to their success. I'm not talking about that, because that's all part of what God is doing in their life. They're going through their maturation process. They're really going through the experience of being out of relationship with the Lord. So we got to let them do that. But I'm talking about being available if they need us, if they've got health issues. We are always going to be there for our children when they've got health issues. We're always going to be there. All of us, if you're any kind of parent, you're going to be there for them if they have health issues. However, you have to be available if they need advice. Not because you're offering it, but if they come to you and they're asking for advice. It's going to take me into another communication, but they're asking for advice. You have to be available to offer that if they ask. You have to be available to be maybe just a sounding board. In other words, in case anyone isn't familiar with that term, they may just want to be able to sound things out. You've got to be available to listen. You might have to be less involved in their life because they want to do it their way. Now, if they want you to be involved, then that's a whole nother thing. We have friends that their adult children would not live a day without having their parents involved in their lives, because they understand that, here goes the next communication, but they understand that they can't really talk to their friends about their problems because their friends have the same problems they have, which, as I said, is going to take me into another communication. So before I go any further with that, just be available, but maybe be less involved. But the teenagers, you have to be involved in their lives, because whatever they do inside your household is going to have an impact on the quality of life. So sit them down and explain that to them, that we're doing things differently now. We want to make sure that there's a great quality of life, and that begins with love. And then from there, it begins with guidance, instruction, and we have to be willing to do that even if they don't like it, because they're minors. And because they're minors, that means that you're responsible. But you have to explain that to them. In this society today, young children they're living in a society that's made them very intelligent because they have access to so much more information. So it's not just do as I say and not do as I do. It's let's sit down and have a conversation. It's not going to change the outcome because you're still the parent. but at least you're going to have a conversation and explain to them the reason that you do things a certain way, because it benefits the quality of life of the family. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you always ask your friends for advice. They give you advice, and when it does not have good results, you feel that they abandon you. So here's the real simple response to this, and then I'm going to delve into it a little further. You've got to stop asking your friends, your peers, for advice. You've got to go to people. Your friends don't know any more than you know. They have the same issues that you have. You have to go to people who you know, who have experienced life, who have accomplished in life, that can give you some sound counsel. You know, there's a scripture that says, very early in the scripture, it says, do not take counsel with the ungodly. That's where it starts. Nor sit in the presence of the scornful. Right? You've got to understand something. You don't want to sit around with angry people talking about things that are making you all angry. You don't want to sit in the ungodly means that people who don't seek the guidance and instruction of God. It means some other things also, but we're talking about advice right now. You can't get advice from your friends to deal with issues that you're having when they're having the same issues. They're going through the same things you're going through. It may not look the same, but they have the same issues. You know, they may not be dealing with the same significant other, the same type of significant other you're dealing with, but they too have a significant other. They're going through the same issues that you're going through with dating. They're going through the same issues you're going through with career. They're going through the same issues that you're going through with peers. They're going through the same issues, and you're asking them for advice. And you know, I always use an example. I always use an analogy. How's that working for you? Well, I know how it's working for you because you sent in the communication. And what I'm saying to you is this. You've got to stop asking them, your friends, your peers, for advice. You feel abandoned because when it goes wrong, they don't have anything to offer you. They're really not abandoning you. They're still your friends. But the reason that they go silent, they don't take your calls when you call them and tell them, leave a message or text them and tell them, because I know you all do a lot of texting, but you tell them, you know, this is what happened. I tried that and this is what happened. And the reason is because they don't respond is because they don't have another answer. They haven't been through anything. They only think they're going through things. And what I mean by that is they haven't been through anything because they haven't come out of it. They're still in the same issues, living in the same issues. You want to talk to people who have been through something and have come out of what they've been through because they came to a resolution. I'm talking about people who are not your peers, people who have accomplished something in life, people who look, if you spend your whole life saying, I'm not going to talk to anybody else except for people who are like me, my friends, my peers. You're going to continue to go through what we call, those of us who are baby boomers, we call it the school of hard knocks. You're going to continue to go through things over and over again because this is the result of not getting good counsel, of just talking to people who are going through the same things that you're going through. Why would you want to do that? You know, at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, I need to talk to someone else. I need to get some advice from, look, your parents, friends of your parents, they'll tell you who to talk to. You know, listen, those of us who are responsible parents understand that sometimes when you're talking to us as parents, when you're talking to us and you're done talking and we give you a response, all you hear is blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You tune us out. You hear us talking, but you tune us out. You don't listen because we're just parents talking to you. And you've been listening to us all your lives. But responsible parents will say, you know what, why don't you call, and we have people that we can refer you to talk to about certain things. That'll give you some good advice because of their love for us, their love for you transitions over to you because of their love for us as your parents. Those are the kind of relationships that you want to tap into, because those people that, you know, I know I can say this from my own experience of parenting. My wife and I have people in our lives that we love who are people who have accomplished, and we can tell our children, call your godfather, call this person, because we know they're going to give you some good sound counsel. You know, they're going to give you basically what we would give you, but you'll hear it from them because they're not mom and dad. So you've got to know that you're getting counsel from the wrong people. You're getting counsel from your friends who are the same age group that you're in, who don't know any more than you know. They really don't. They don't know any more than what you know. They're just your friends. They're your peers. They're on the same level you're on. How are you going to get something to move you to the next level if you don't speak to someone who's at the next level? That's what you want to do, because that's going to give you sound counsel, and preferably if your parents are in a relationship with the Lord, they're not only going to give you people who, you know, who are attorneys and who are accountants and who are executives. They're going to give you godly people who are all of those things. Because contrary to popular belief, there are attorneys and accountants and bankers, and there are executives who love the Lord, who have a relationship with God, and who will give you good counsel. That's what you really hope for. Because right now you're getting advice from people who are just like yourself. And the reason you're communicating is because you know that, well, you were feeling abandoned, but you haven't been getting good results. So it's time to do something different. And I'm going to encourage you to do something different. It's time to tap into godly counsel. People who are going to give you good godly counsel. And you'll need to find that out. You'll need to find that either from your parents or from your colleagues who you have friendships with that are maybe older than you. There are people that can give you good counsel, but you want to make sure it's good counsel. And in order for it to be good counsel, it needs to be counsel from a godly person. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Nike Golf. If you are a golfer such as myself, which I have to say I'm really chomping at the bit to be on the golf course, but if you're a golfer like myself, go to Nike.com. In the search bar, type in the word golf. If you're in need of anything for you to enjoy a golf experience, go to Nike.com, search bar, type in the word golf. You will see everything that Nike has to offer for you to experience a great day out on the golf course. And if you're, we focus on the quality of life here, so health and wellness is important to us. If you're in need of any athletic gear, go to Nike.com. You can, of course, stop into your local athletic store, sporting goods store. But go to Nike.com, place your order. Anything that you could possibly need to enhance your health and wellness, you can find at Nike.com. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you find yourself getting overwhelmed and you want to know, how do you get a hold on your own responsibilities? I'm going to say this to you. The very first thing you're going to have to do is stop trying to impress your peers. I'm spending a lot of, there's a theme that was going on here this past week. Stop trying to impress your peers. In the old days, they had an expression, keeping up with the Joneses. I don't really know who the Joneses are. I know there's some families named Jones. I have a very good friend whose last name is Jones. His whole family's members of my church, and they are serving in the church. So I will say this. Look, you don't need to try to keep up with your friends or impress your friends. How about this? Impress yourself. Focus on what you desire to accomplish. Focus on that. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't try to impress the Joneses. Don't try to impress anyone else except yourself. I always use the analogy, I'm not easily impressed, so it takes a lot for me to impress myself. And then even if I had a moment where I felt like I'm impressed, I know that it's only because of God that I can do whatever it is that I desire to accomplish. So that's where we stay in a place of humility, because we understand that no matter how much we accomplish, it's really God working through us. It's really God doing in us. He that begins a good work in you will finish the work he's begun. So it's only God working through us that allows us to accomplish the things that we desire to accomplish. You have to stop trying to impress everyone else and focus on impressing yourself. And in that, you want to take it to another level? How about this? Live to impress God. Because when you delight yourself in the Lord, he gives you the desires of your heart. And he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. So I use the analogy, impress yourself, just so that I could get to this place to say, how about living to impress God? If we spend every day of our lives trying to impress God, trying to make God happy about everything that we do, living to delight ourselves in him, knowing that God is pleased with everything we've done, then the quality of our lives are going to be so much better. You will find that you will be able to really hold the responsibilities that have been assigned to you in a place that will not overwhelm you. Because one thing that none of us really likes or enjoys or benefits from is being overwhelmed. We want to be in a place where we are on a good pace and we stay on that pace, and our body stays in rhythm, our mind stays in rhythm, our spirit stays in rhythm, and we enjoy a great quality of life. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you.